Like people think KD and headshot percentage matter. They really don't, especially if you're playing roles like Duelist. Like you're gonna have on and off games. But one thing that you can always keep consistent is to make the lives of your teammates easier by creating space. Sometimes you might not be having a great game, but you could just be dashing into your smoke, being fucking annoying, double smoke on yourself. Like you've created space at this point.
There's this goal for a lot of people to be a top frag duelist. They want to hard carry their games and hit insane clips or whatever. But just because you're top fragging on Duelist, it doesn't mean you're being a good duelist. If you're top fragging on Duelist, but you're getting 1 or 2 every round from lurking, you can say you're lurking well, but you're not being a good duelist. So how can you be a good duelist? And the general answer is to make your team's life easier by creating space. But I think this answer is a little too general for someone who's trying to improve or get better at the role. Because you could feel like you're creating space as long as you're going in. Like as long as you get the smoke dash in or you wall up and slide in and fight someone, then you can feel like you're doing your job. And while it's partially true, it also becomes really easy to fall into the trap of feeling like you're losing because you're getting aim diffed or your team's just not helping you. So let's talk about the point of creating space and why you have to do it as the duelist. Every time you create space, it should move the defender's crosshair away from the choke. For example, if I'm defending C and I see 5 people, I smoke it off, I'm still staring down the same choke. I could spam it, I could hold it, it doesn't really matter. But I know as long as I keep my crosshair on this choke, I have a pretty good chance of killing someone if they swing out. But when you create space, like you smoke dash on sight, or you neon wall up and then you slide into default, or slide front plat, I can't just hold the choke anymore. If I start spamming the choke, then you could swing me from front sight. And if I start fighting you front sight, your team can just swing out of the smoke and fight me right after. And then I lose the sight. And it's going to be your job as duelist to do this because your role has all the mobility. Things like waylay double dash or jet smoke dash, the neon wall with running around and sliding, Yoru flash TP. These are all things that will consistently get you onto site and force me to pick between fighting you or holding the choke. And it's always going to be your job throughout the game to go in first. It's the same way it's the controller's job to smoke and it's the Senti's job to hold flank. You can't just hand off this role to someone else in the middle of the game because you don't feel like going in anymore. Like if I'm an Omen, I'm not going to ask my Jet to start smoking because I don't feel like smoking anymore. That's the equivalent of not going in on Duelist anymore. Your role as Duelist is designed to get baited because once I start shooting at you at the entry, I'm giving up my position and it gives your team the opportunity to trade. You want to start by picking a spot that has cover to end in. To stick with the neon example, you can wall up, stun back plat, and then slide into it. And now you can end somewhere on site with some cover. This way you have dice to give you cover from CT, you have the default boxes to give you cover from garage, and you can isolate your fights a lot easier that way. Another example would be if you're trying to entry on Sunset B, you could wall up, stun back left, and then slide into it. Or Ascent A, where you could smoke dash front gen, and you have cover from Heaven, Hell, Dice. This gives you options after to start isolating those fights. You don't want to just run around on site 360ing, looking for an aim duel and shooting the first person you see. So ideally, you want defenders to feel like there's 2 threats. You as a duelist on site and the rest of your team that can come through the choke. But if you're split up from your team because of a vice wall or molly, then defenders are actually only dealing with 1 threat. And it's your job to stay alive on site if you can't find that favorable fight. Because if you can outlive that stall, then defenders are back to dealing with 2 threats and defenders can't tunnel on you anymore. But if you die as a solo guy on site, then your team stuck in the choke is going to be the only threat again. Then all the defenders can just tunnel their attention back to the choke, but this time there's no entry. 2 threats become 1 threat while you're split from your team. If you outlive it, you bring it back up to 2 threats. But if you die, you're back down to 1 threat and defenders don't have anything to worry about. Then the dilemma of picking between holding the choke and holding for the person that entry'd is solved. There's no reason for me to look away from the choke again. It'll be a lot more consistent for you to play to live and fight with your team after than it is for you to just slide back site and 50-50 a fight. So you do your entry, you get on site, you're staying alive. You want to think about what spots you can get to that'll give you a fight in your favor or tradable for your team. I think this is where skill expression really comes in for duelists because it is a hard balance between staying alive and picking a good fight. There are moments where you can take a good fight while you're split from your team, but if you take the wrong timing, you're just giving a free 1v1. How can you take a good fight? Before the round, you can think about what you need cleared as you're going in. So if we stick with the fighting back plat example, you know it's really likely that defenders will be playing back site or logs, and then a little less likely that they'll play in these 2 rat corners in the front. Just look at your team util and see what they can do to help you with those fights. Like you could ask for a Sova Dart back site, or you could ask for Paranoia to logs, so that once you make it to back plat and those things land, you can take the fights afterwards. You just want easy kills. And some of the easiest kills you're gonna get are gonna be from fighting people that are blinded or stunned. That's like the best case scenario, but it's pretty hard to make happen. It's going to be hard to consistently blind or stun someone. The second best thing you're going to get is fighting someone that's turning something or shooting a piece of util. If you swing with the blind, even if they're not blinded, you'll have the chance to get them while they're turning. You can also swing with stuff like Fade Dog or Sova Dart because they're going to have some sort of shooting inaccuracy once they try to break that util. If someone's there, they're going to have to break it or get scanned. And once they shoot it, they're basically telling you where they are and that their crosshair is not at head level. So if you always look out for moments like this, where people are turned away or shooting something else and take those fights, you'll be a lot more consistent on first fights. They're no longer complete coin flips as soon as you show yourself. And then you as a duelist should be changing the way you entry as the rounds continue. Like once you stun back plat for the 4th time, it's pretty likely that they won't play there anymore. Or maybe they'll be playing with a shotgun, getting ready to swing inside your wall as you're running in. So eventually you can change your plan to just end front plat or default, wait for your team to come in, and then fight with more util. But you should be building this mental map of what space you're clearing and how you can continue fighting the areas you haven't cleared. So we can sum it up with 3 questions you can ask yourself about your entries. Am I the one entrying? Am I picking where to fight? And am I picking good fights? You want to be the one entering for the team, especially if you're solo duelist, and making sure that you're using your abilities to do it. If you don't use your mobility, then there's no difference between you swinging out of smoke and like a Sova or a Cypher swinging out of a smoke. You have to make sure you're picking where you want to fight and not just running around randomly, checking every corner to end up flipping a fight. Try to get somewhere with cover, look for an isolated fight, or fight with your team's util. And you want to take good fights too. You don't want to swing someone that has their crosshair at head level, looking exactly at the corner you're coming out from, just so you can get one tapped. You want to swing someone that's blinded or stunned, or at least shooting something, so that their aim is off while they're fighting you. Sometimes you just need to stay in place, stay alive, and wait to fight with your team. If you think about these things while you're playing Duelist, your rounds will feel a lot less chaotic, and your impact will be more consistent. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.